I got a question for you. When Kevin Keegan told you that you weren't going, how would you have reacted if he's like, anyway, you're not going, can you play tomorrow night?
He did do that to me.
Oh, did he?
Against Ukraine. But I think I was actually sub and didn't come on. History tells you take players that haven't played football and are carrying injuries into a tournament. It doesn't work. Now, you look at Jordan Henderson. He ain't played since February.
Did you see the David Beckham hype?
And we went to Japan, and obviously he was then at that point like massive Spice Girl wife, etc. And I remember one time we got off the bus. All the team got off the bus, was going to the hotel, and then I looked around. I forget who said it to me and said, "Rah, we ain't even got no security, you know. Look, Bex has got all the security, so we're just getting left to the wolves, yeah."
KDB, PFA Player of the Season. Does he deserve it ahead of Diaz and Harry Kane
or Bruno Fernandes?
Oh, come on, man! Don't
look at his numbers.
When people were kneeling down, bro, man, are booing. Like, I don't get that, and that's not the first time it happened. It happened during the Champions League final as well.
These fans, these ignorant people that are going to these games, ain't got a clue. They don't know what the players are kneeling for.
Yeah. You already know the vibes. Looking in with the guys. Steven, Rio, and Joe. I got tune into 5-5. You know the vibes, you know the guys, you know the trio. You know it's Steve, you know it's Joe, you know it's Rio.
Yes, people, we are back. Myself, Joe, and Steve, we're here. Massive announcement. We are back giving the people what they want. The Euros content is coming out from this week, from the end of the week when the Euros start. We are going bang, bang, back to back. Content coming out on a regular basis. We've got Thierry Henry on Tuesday, Ashley Williams on Wednesday, and Alan Shearer on Friday, all on this YouTube channel. Do not miss it. Big stuff going on. It's going to continue throughout the Euros, man. This is what I've been dreaming of. This is what I've wanted. We've come together. We want to create somewhere where when there's the Euros on, when there's football on, there's only one place you come in, and that's it.
And you know what? Let's not forget, people, we've got the content schedule that we're going to throw on the screen right here so you guys can get involved. There you go. So we've got Vibe with 5 teams to watch. Yeah, teams to watch is going to be a good show because obviously we're going to be doing analysis here and there on who to watch. And Late Night Vibe, that's a big show. We're going to be getting on guests. It's going to be live after games on a Friday or just on a Friday in general. Steve, I know you've got big thoughts about that show, innit?
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep. You got to tease a little bit, Joel.
Yeah,
we're telling people what the schedule is here, but we've also got to tease them a little bit. They're not going to find out who's on it. They're going to have to tune in and see.
You're right. So, but guys, that's why you got to be subscribed. And then obviously we got the England watch-alongs that we're doing. We're going to make sure we got special guests. It's just going to be sick, man. And so please make sure you stay tuned. Follow the IG channel and IG page as well. 5UK. We're going to be having a lot of announcements on there. And we will be making this a podcast by next week. We see the comments. We're listening to you and we're getting it moving. All right.
Yeah, man. I think that's a big thing. We've been looking at the comments and interacting with you guys. And one of the main things that we've seen is like, why is this not a podcast? Why is it not on Spotify? So we've answered the call, man. So Spotify, here we come.
Yeah. All right. So let's get moving. England, nice little performance yesterday. Made it a little bit hard for themselves. Who watched the game? Did you actually watch the game? Because I didn't.
I did.
Yeah.
I watched the game. So you're not doing your research, man. We're going into a tournament. You got due diligence has got to be done.
Listen, I did the highlights.
I told you before kickoff. Yeah. This was the team that I was sort of saying very close to what I wanted to see. Ward Pro's playing that forward 4 lineup: Grealish, Rashford, Sancho, Calvert-Lewin. Unfortunately, we saw it in a game where we had loads of possession and it didn't really fulfill what I was hoping it would fulfill. So almost a waste of. Why are we playing teams that we know we're going to beat? Why aren't we trying to test ourselves?
Do you think that's a commercial thing? Do you think that's a commercial thing that they kind of keep them away from? Because if you're playing England versus France in the pre-tournament, then what do you have to look forward to during the course of the tournament itself?
Yeah, Spain played Portugal the other day.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Okay. So it just depends on the nations. Like there's two trains of thought. Do you want like some way you can just like test a couple of things out against an easier team, or do you want to go and say, listen, this is my team, and I'm going to put it out against one of the teams that's probably going to be competing for the trophy. So I want to see gauge where we're really at. There's two trains of thought. Listen, I think it's horses for courses. England had quite a few players. I think it's 8 players that were in Europa League final and the Champions League final, who they're probably going to be half of that at least going to be starting. So they were never going to put their best team out in these 2 friendlies anyway. So I think it was getting some minutes into certain people's legs. The manager to I don't think he learnt much out of these 2 games other than like maybe the likes of the fringe players like Godfrey, Ward-Prowse, Ben White, etc. He learnt more about them probably than anyone else, I'd think. But all the others, and actually, I'm going to go back on my word there. The thing that he learnt in the last 2 games is that if he needs a moment of brilliance to unlock a tight game, it's Grealish.
Yeah.
It's Grealish. That's what it's about now. That's where we've got to. Grealish.
But I'll be honest with you, that we kind of knew that before, didn't we? Like you're saying he would have learnt it, but that's something he knew already before, right?
He knew that at Aston Villa, not with England.
No, the Belgium game, man.
It's one game, isn't it? He's actually now sustaining that, and he's fulfilling that position and that role consistently now. It's like anyone can come in and bang. Theo Walcott came in against Croatia and scored a hat-trick. He was never that important guy for England, that go-to guy, even on the back of doing that. So just because you have one game where you go, he produced a moment, it's doing it consistently. He's starting to now do that. He's doing that on back-to-back games, which is a big progression.
He did that against, was it Denmark or Iceland or something, where whoever his first game, he did it in that game as well, though.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that he's continuing it. It's all right saying he's going to do one in 4 games, he'll do it, or 1 in 5 games. Where we've been crying out for a creative player who we know that when the chips are down or it's a tight game, throw him the ball. Something's going to happen when we give him the ball. And he's that guy. And listen, we've got other players like, this is what I want to see in an England shirt, Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho at Borussia Dortmund, when they need a moment, obviously Haaland's on the end of things, but when they want someone to open the game up, they look at Sancho. I want to see that Sancho for England. Now, is it the team? The shape of the team and the restrictions that's holding him back from doing this, bringing out the same form, or is it just that he hasn't become accustomed to international football yet? We've got to work that bit out.
I got a question for you.
Go on then.
When Kevin Keegan told you that you weren't going, how would you have reacted if he's like, anyway, you're not going, but can you play tomorrow night?
He did do that to me.
Oh, did he?
Against Ukraine. Check the stats. I don't know if I think I was actually sub and didn't come on. So he gave me the option to go, and I said, no, you can stay or you can go. It's up to you. And out of respect, and it's the country, etc., the national team, you get an opportunity to be involved. You have to go. So I said, I want to come and I think I was on the bench and I didn't get used, and I took that even more of it personally. Like, you ain't taking me. You've made me get stripped and ready for a game, and you've actually even thought, you know what, stay on the bench as well. Not even like, you know what, thanks for actually coming and actually putting yourself out to play. Not putting yourself out, but you know what I mean? Because it's embarrassing. Like, all players are egos. We all got egos, and you think, and I didn't go, and no disrespect to Gareth Barry, but he took Gareth Barry in front of me as a centre back, and I was sitting there thinking, right, what is going on there? Like, there's got to be more to it. But again, like I've said before, you look within. I didn't blame no one. I didn't like Keegan because of it straight away, but that dislike turned to thank you over time, because he really made me rethink my whole process of like becoming the best I can be, and it made me knuckle down. And that pre-season, before pre-season even started, I used to go to my mum's house, run in the local park, getting ready so I was fit when I went back into pre-season. And then
Beckham.
No, I moved my mum out to somewhere else, like Grove Park, after that. But it was around there. But I used to go running. Anyone around there used to see me pre-season. I used to run in the park, and then I got back to pre-season. I was sharp, and then November I signed for Leeds for 18 million British transfer record. So that's why it turned from bitterness to thank you very much, Mr. Kevin Keegan, because he's the one who really made me know I've got to fix up.
Would you want to see players treated like that, though? Would you rather, when there's pre-tournament friendlies after the squad has been selected, do you think it should be the players that are going to the tournament, or would you like to see some fringe players like Lingard and Ward-Prowse and people like that kept around for some reason?
Yeah, I understand why players are kept around. Is because if injuries happen, you need them there and you need them fit. Because if you tell someone they're not going to a tournament, they're straight on a plane wherever they can go. So I understand it, but at the same time, I mean, Jesse Lingard's probably got to be one of the most disappointed players in that squad not to get in, considering he went from 23 to 26, and then there's an injury. So, but I understand it. Ideally, you want your team that's going to be there and going to be in the tournament, but I think you just need to keep everybody around just in case. And it's selfish of the manager, but it's needs must.
But what I don't understand though, is even though you're keeping players around for the injuries, and yeah, I know there was the Champions League game, etc. But he used loads of players that he didn't need to use. So that's what confused me. Like there were the likes of, yes, you've made a decision, cool, but then on top of that, you've ended up using players that it's nothing to do with the Champions League. You've just done a roll on, roll off. Like, what are you doing? Yeah,
but you know what? You try telling Ben Godfrey and Ben White that they just made their debuts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you can't see them guys will see it very differently to everybody else. They'll be saying, "Thank God you brought me here. I'll play any minute you give me," because it's their debuts. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, Ben White off the back of it's got in the squad. So it's a selfish angle sometimes from the management, but they need to be like that because you don't know what's going to happen. Who knew Trent Alexander-Arnold was going to get injured? And then all of a sudden now, them players that are on the fringes who aren't going are sitting there going, I better train well again now. I might be going. So things can change really quickly. But I mean, I think moving on to that point, even injuries within the squad and taking a chance on players. You look down the years, Brian Robson didn't work. David Beckham done all right. He weren't the Beckham that we knew.
Didn't work.
Wayne Rooney went into a tournament with an injury, didn't score a goal. It's not Wayne Rooney. It doesn't work. Michael Owen does an even worse injury when he goes in there, comes out against Sweden. It doesn't work. History tells you take players that haven't played football and are carrying injuries into a tournament, rush back. It doesn't work. Now you look at Jordan Henderson. He ain't played since February. Like it takes you a minimum of 5-6 games to get match fit. Have we got 5 or 6 games for him to get fit and wait for him? Really?
Yeah.
And listen, I love Jordan Henderson. I think he's a great footballer, a great leader of men that in teams that win. We've seen that in the last couple of years. Yeah, he's grown into that. But I just don't. And we're talking about, by the way, Wayne Rooney, Michael Owen, Beckham, people that created chances, unlocked defenses, who you can afford to take a little bit of a risk with them type of players, more so, I believe, because it's about them creating. And then you move on to Maguire. He hasn't played. By the time he plays, by the end of the group stage, it's probably 7 or 8 weeks he hasn't kicked a ball. Now, you tell me how someone like him who's going to get fit. He's going to need 3-4 games to get fit. Have we got 3 or 4 games by that stage for it to wait for him? Are we going to go into a knockout game with him being 50-60% fit? Are you really willing to do that?
Is he? He's not that elite.
Yeah, he's not Rooney. He's not a Rooney. He's not a Michael Owen. That's what I mean. If it was a player like that, if it was a Harry Kane, I get it. Do you know what I mean? I understand, but it's not. And there's no disrespect to Harry Maguire, and I understand. And listen, I hear people saying, "Oh, it's selfish for him to be going there, etc." Yeah, listen, you ask anybody if they're going to go to a World Cup and they've got a chance to go, and the manager says, "You know what? Even if you're half fit, I'll take you." No man in their right mind is going, "Do you know what? Excuse me, can I just hold my hand up? I'm only 50% fit. I'm going to give a youngster a chance." No chance. All these people saying he's selfish, shut up. Because if it was you would go. Trust me. Everyone, I've seen so many people, like fans online, etc. People saying, "Oh, it's selfish." Nah, any pro in their right mind, if he feels that he's got half a chance of playing and he thinks he could get through it, it will go. Now, it's a different case if he knows he's carrying an injury and he ain't going to get through it. I understand that's selfish. But someone who's going into it and I ain't played many games, but I think I'll be able to get myself through. You back yourself. That's what top pros do. You back yourself.
That's true. So do you reckon then? So you actually agree basically with what Roy Keane was saying, innit? Because he came out and it looked like Roy Keane was getting at Henderson, etc. Obviously, he didn't speak about Maguire, but in short, obviously Roy's got his way of saying things. But in short, you're basically agreeing with what he's saying. Agreeing with what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with that. He obviously just taking a mick a little bit, but tongue in cheek. But I just don't. As a manager, I don't think history tells you taking players that aren't fit and are limping into tournaments doesn't work. Listen, if he takes them, which he is, I hope it works. I really do. But I will not be surprised if one, if not both, break down or they go into the games and they don't produce their best form because they're not fit. You can't do it in the Premier League, let alone international level. Don't happen.
Steve, I got a bag of questions today, so you jump in because I've been arguing with Rio in the group about certain things, and
I'll let you go. On Jordan Henderson, I know you're saying he needs match fitness to come back. I thought he was the worst player in England's midfield yesterday.
Well,
the worst.
Thought Ward-Prowse just ran it, and it felt to me like Henderson was the sidekick with like both the midfields that came on. It didn't feel like he was impacting the game at all.
A fit Henderson starts in this England team, no doubt in my mind. Just because of his presence, his experience. Listen, we've got a lot of young players in this squad. You need good experience in these teams as well. Like I'm all for playing young players, but you need that bit of guile or that bit of people that have been around the block a little bit. He's one of them.
Before I forget, the start of the game, when people were kneeling down, bro, man are booing. Like I don't get that, and that's not the first time it happened. It happened during the Champions League final as well. It happened
at Wolves Man United, the game I went to. It's a joke.
What's going on? Obviously, you're at games more than we are these days, Rio. What is going on out there?
These fans, these ignorant people that are going to these games, ain't got a clue. They don't know what the players are kneeling for. They're kneeling for injustice. They're kneeling to make sure that certain situations are going to be remembered and highlighted and dealt with the proper way.
Yeah,
like it's not a political stance. And all these ignorant people that are going, "Oh yeah, it's a political. The BLM, it's a political movement. It's nothing to do with that." So take that out of your mind. You're booing people. Pardon? That's
political.
It's not political. The players, the England manager, they've done press conferences, they've done adverts that are telling you this is not a political campaign. This is the reason why we kneel is nothing to do with politics, right? So it's nothing to do with that. This stance is about anti-racism. It's people being treated the right way and respectfully, and for not the color of their skin. So. This reason for booing, there's no valid reason anyone can give me for booing. So they're meant to be here helping our team. They're meant to be wanting to push our team along. The players' narrative around this kneel is nothing to do with politics. So please just support this team, man. Support these players. They don't want injustice. They don't want people to be judged on the basis of their color of their skin. And they're kneeling because of that. So why are you booing, man? Please. I don't understand it.
Yeah. Saying that though, it was great to see Rashford captaining United. Obviously, as one of your own players, Steve, what was the feeling? Did you ever expect him to be captain?
Yeah, I think the trajectory that Marcus's career is going on. I mean, I did a video yesterday saying I don't think he should go to the Euros.
Why?
What?
Just injury, not because of anything else. Just I see too many injuries take away people's careers. And if Marcus, if what his agency is saying that he's not been fully fit for 2 years, at some point, not only are you taking years off your career at the other end, but you're taking ability off your career right now. If he's playing diminished for a year and a half, like we're not seeing the best Marcus. And he's had 2 pretty good seasons. I wouldn't say world class. I wouldn't say like top of the tree seasons. But if he's been injured through those, well, then I'm just excited for what a fully fit, fresh, non-injured Marcus can do. And I think it takes a long time to properly get over some injuries. And I think some players that we've seen benefit from having big club squads around them, I think Foden's one of them. I think he's not been ground down and he's been able to show his quality because he's playing pretty fresh. And when he needs a break, he gets a break. I think Mount is similar, not quite to the same extent as Foden. I think players that have been, and even Jesse Lingard potentially. Jesse Lingard never came back from the World Cup. Had a big break because Ollie wasn't having him for half of this year. He goes on loan to West Ham and then he suddenly lights it up. And I think a lot of the reason why he was lighting it up was purely on the back of him being rested. And that was it, because he kind of got played into the ground a little bit up until and through the World Cup. And I just think Marcus needs at least a couple of months off. He's not going to get more than that, but a couple of months, get his injuries sorted, get some surgeries sorted, recover properly from them. And I think you'll see a hell of a footballer on the other side of it.
You know what I think?
Real, give me 2 seconds. Yeah, I just got to tell him he's mad for a minute. Then you got to carry on. And the reason why you're mad, Steve, is not because what you're saying is wrong. I think scientifically what you're saying makes sense. But this is football. You're playing for Manchester United in England. When you've got people like Cavani knocking on the door, you've got the Martial contract, whether he goes or stays. It also all depends on whether Rashford plays or not. When you're not playing for England, you've got a young Dominic Calvert-Lewin that's knocking on the door. You see him yesterday. I saw the highlights. Hitting the crossbar, really bullying the defence and stuff. And then you can't afford to just take time off and hope. If you're talking about a couple of weeks, maybe, but if you haven't been fit for 2 years, you're either going to have to get managed better or you're going to have to take a lengthy time off, which he can't afford to do right now.
But I think that if he doesn't take that lengthy time off, the injuries are going to get more severe. They're going to get more frequent, and you're not going to see him reach that potential that he should have done. Injuries finished Michael Owen.
Do you know what he needs to do? Exactly where I was just going. He needs to go and have a conversation. If I was Marcus Rashford and I was handling him and I was advising him now, I'd tell him right now, as quick as he can, go and get Michael Owen's phone number. Have a coffee with Michael Owen and let him talk to you about burnout. Let him talk to you about playing too many games at a young age and the effects that it has on your career in years to come. That's what he needs to do. If his advisors are watching, which I know they do, please, I'll hand you his number. Just message me. I'll get you his number. Go and speak to Michael Owen, because Michael Owen, I don't care what anyone, Rashford, all these other players right now, what they were doing at 18 years old, they weren't doing what Michael Owen was doing. They wasn't. Don't care who they were. When they were 18.
No one can argue. I think the only player that I've seen do that is Wayne Rooney.
Whatever. But all I'm saying is Michael Owen came on and smashed a World Cup. No one's done that. No one's become an overnight superstar through banging in a goal in the World Cup like the way he did, right? But if from England. But just have that conversation to get a clear understanding of what burnout means and what it does to your career and what it potentially can do to your career. So Michael Owen would have broke the English goal scoring record without a shadow of a doubt if he didn't get the injuries, if he didn't get burnt out, 100%. But again, I'm sure Michael Owen, we'll get him on and let him talk about this type of stuff, because it's important for the young players to understand that you can't play every game. Sometimes you've got to hold your hand up and say, listen, man, I need a rest.
What are you doing then? Because obviously you're dishing out good advice and we're listening to what Steve's saying, but you were young Rio Ferdinand. Yes, you weren't a striker. Yes, you weren't a midfielder. But what are you doing considering the fact that you're playing for Man United? And before you answer that, I heard, through sources, that near the end of your career, you were taking injections, man. Yeah. Because it was that competitive, you couldn't even show that you were hurt. So what are you doing if you're in his position?
There's a few differences. You got to remember, I grew up at West Ham. The spotlight is very different at a club like that. So you can have off days. You can have an off month almost sometimes in them teams that aren't under the microscope. Man United, Rashford has an off month. He's looking. People are talking about him being transfer listed. He's gone. He's finished. So the pressures are very different, and the pressures to play week in, week out are very different at a club like Man United. But going back to your point about what he does need to do is just manage himself. He needs to be very, very honest, and he needs to be very, very sometimes selfish at some points. Now, players, when I played, I wouldn't have understood it and I wouldn't have appreciated it. But sometimes there are times when you need to just think about you. And if your injuries are starting to make you creak a little bit, which we're hearing through the grapevine, it is with Marcus, then that's a red light. That's a flag. You need to really react upon that in the right way that suits you. And going back to myself towards the end of my career, it's different. When you're at the end of your career, you're trying to just prolong it and just trying to get more games out. Yeah, I used to have injections, tablets before a game, the night before. I'd go to sleep the night before a game, hoping that I'd wake up and not have a twinge somewhere in my calf, my hamstring, on my back, mainly my back. And then I'd wake up and I'd know straight away, I ain't going to be able to play today. I have to go to the doctor. Embarrassed. Doc, I don't know if I'm going to have to play. Right, I'll get you a bit of treatment, take some tablets, maybe have an injection, and we'll see. A lot of times, yep, I'm straight back. I'm out there, I'm playing. But I remember we played Stoke away. Went out for the warm-up, felt fine. Went out in the warm-up. All of a sudden, felt something, jogged in during the warm-up. Doc, my back's gone. Nothing we can do. It's too close to the game. Don't play. But that's through years of not taking care of my body, not like doing the maintenance that these guys are doing that they do now. I was doing yoga for 6 years with Giggsy and Michael Carrick, trying to do things that were maintenance. But the science behind what they do now is so much more detailed than what we had, that these guys can really prevent injuries and sustain their careers for longer periods than what we did.
Go on, Steve.
I'm thinking of a few different angles. I want to know more detail on here. I'm just wondering which is the best one to go down. Do you think there's an English mentality problem? You've got to be tough. You've got to keep playing. If I don't play, someone's having my spot.
Yeah, you're so right. You hit the nail on the head. Like, for instance, Carlos Tevez, notorious for players at Man City, Man United, didn't really bother his ass in training. Didn't really care about training. He's still playing now. I think he's 37 or 38.
Yeah.
He's still playing. Yeah.
Winning
he's playing and he's winning. He's at Boca Juniors. I think he's just leaving now, but he's still playing football and was playing at Juventus in his 30s, etc. Still making transfers, teams wanting him. Where the English boys, they're ground down. We're on our last leg by 34, 35, because every day in training, we put in the maximum. We fly about in training. You got the foreign players are just chilling. They do a little bit of intensity here and there, but a lot of them were just chilling, and they just flew by, and their careers are sustained for longer periods. But then you've got someone like Ronaldo, who also trained really hard, but he done it scientifically. It was a tailored, measured approach with him. It wasn't just, let's go hard in training, run around everywhere, smash everyone, blah, blah, really intense training sessions. It was more meticulous with like his preparation, his recovery, the days when he really went for it in training and the days he took his foot off the pedal. It was a lot more measured, where the English boys were just like, if you don't try hard in training, you ain't one of us. You ain't about it.
I see Roy Keane said that about Ruud van Nistelrooy as well. He didn't understand why Ruud sometimes would not, and I'm not saying he wasn't a hard trainer, but apparently, again, what I was reading, and Ruud was able to confirm this as well. It was like Ruud wouldn't go hard every training session. He didn't want to get smashed every training session. And when somehow I was an honorary Arsenal guest at the Treble United match that was done by BT a couple of years ago, besides Scholesy and Beckham, who looked in great shape, Ruud van Nistelrooy, first of all, he looks like he hasn't aged a day, but in general, you've seen him. He looks good when he runs, fantastic. He had a career after Man United. His numbers were still strong after Man United as well. So, I think that backs up what you're saying.
Yeah, the foreign players definitely were different in the way that they approach training and stuff. Definitely, and it definitely helps them in terms of sustaining a career, 100%, I'd say.
Can we just say, actually, that game, remember that? That was the best right-wing performance anyone had at Old Trafford in years,
Yes, imagine.
Beckham was
spraying the ball about, innit?
He could play lower league.
People don't understand how good David Beckham was, I don't think.
We need to do a show just on Becks, because I don't think he gets the rating sometimes that he deserves.
Yeah. I like that idea. I like that. Dedication to Becks or something like that.
Yeah, because like the time he put in the training, free kicks, the baddest free kick taker on the planet random times, one of the baddest, if not the baddest free kick taker.
How much extras was he doing?
That's what I mean. It weren't about just turning up on a Saturday or Wednesday night under the lights doing it. Every after sessions, he had a bag of balls out. He had after training all the time with England, and used to get players would sit there and you just admire what he's doing, going, rah, man. Because you'd have all the others doing it, but no one at the levels that he was doing. It was just different, man. It weren't by coincidence or by chance that the way he could put the ball on a sixpence, because he used to work on it all. The best crosser I've ever seen of a ball on the run. Unreal.
Mad. Hey, Steve, remember when I was with you that night or whatever, I think he had been preparing for that game, right? The Bayern Munich game, the reunion game, since like November. And I think he had played against QPR. What was it?
I'd heard, and I think this is coming out in a documentary, so I don't think we're breaking any news here. I'd heard Beckham was hiring out like Loftus Road to play 90 minutes against like Brooklyn's mates and stuff like that. Can you imagine how awesome is it that I know it's obviously about his brand, his brand is that he was this elite footballer, and you're never gonna see him calling anyone to see you next Tuesday. It's just not his style, is it? What he does, but the preparation that he put into it, and this is what he's doing in his 40s for a charity game. I can't imagine the intensity that the guy must have had, those last few years of the 90s, those early 2000s while he was still at United, and even what he was doing at Real Madrid and then at Paris and at Milan. And obviously he did what Pele couldn't do and actually made people give a toss about football in America. Beckham had a huge hand in that.
Yeah, Beckham's more than a footballer, man. He's the first one really that I've seen. Obviously, George Best was a bit as well, but for a long period of time, he was more than a footballer. In the modern era, there's no one that's been more of a all-rounder to society, to fashion, to lifestyle, to football, sport than him. The brand that he created was just phenomenal. Obviously, the fact that he married a Spice Girl definitely helped and propelled him into superstardom, because at the time the Spice Girls were bigger than David Beckham and any footballer about at the time. They were world superstars dominating the charts. So they definitely helped him with that bit. But then what they've done after that has been nothing short of crazy, and everything, again, the word meticulous. I think everything that he's done over the years has been meticulous in terms of brand association, etc., and align himself with the right people and the right brands.
You see his lad Romeo scoring a free kick last week.
Yeah, I see it online.
I didn't see it.
It's nice.
That's some hereditary free kick taking ability. That is.
It was serious. It was nice.
Let's get back to the Euros anyway. What are we going with, man?
Yeah.
England out by the round of 16.
Wait, one more back question. Did you see when you arrived there? Obviously, you've gone from Leeds to United, and everything's just big, and do you know what I mean? It's different. You can feel the pressure. Did you see the David Beckham hype when you're coming in training and people are taking in the pictures, or when you're in the England squad, or what was that like?
Yeah, no, the maddest thing with Bex, right, is obviously I played with him with England before I'd gone to United.
Yeah.
And we went to Japan. And obviously he was then at that point massive Spice Girl wife, etc. And it was like the England team and David Beckham.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the security, we had security, probably about 6 or 7 guys with us, right? A guy called Ray Whitworth was our head of security, and another older guy, I forget his name now. He was a top old Englishman, really nice guy, I forget his name. But we had 3 or 4, 5, 6 of our own security. And I remember one time we got off the bus. All the team got off the bus, was going to the hotel, and then I looked around. I forget who said it to me and said, "Rah, we ain't even got no security, Look, Bex has got all of the security." So we're just getting left to the wolves, yeah. Everyone just taking pictures of us coming up, pulling us from left to right. Our identifications getting dragged off our neck by the fans. And Bex is being ushered in like Michael Jackson, boy, on his own. 6 men around him, and we're on our own, open. And it was a real moment to go, you know what? That he's the star of the show. That's the superstar. We're the backup dancers, definitely, because it was
give you a little wink up.
Taken away from his respect by a lot of football fans, though, that they saw him as this celebrity thing, not realizing that he only got that celebrity thing because he was unbelievable.
No, I think the celebrity stuff came alongside the fact that he married Victoria Beckham as well. Let's not get that twisted. Bex was going to be a big player, don't get me wrong, but the fact that he went with a Spice Girl when they were like the biggest group on the planet, do you know what I mean? Yeah. That definitely propelled him into another stratosphere, 100%. And I think he'd be honest enough to tell you that. Would he have been that big of a superstar without marrying a Spice Girl? I think it'd have been difficult. I think he'd have given it a good try, mind you, but I think it'd have been difficult. And as quick as he done it. But when we went Asia, places like that, we went to my first trip with United. After the World Cup, I signed for United, and all of the players that went with England, like me, Nicky Butt, Scholesy, Bex, I think that was it. Maybe Phil Neville, I'm not sure. Get our own. Pardon?
G-Nev go in 2000?
No, he didn't go. No. Danny Mills played. We had to all get on a plane. We went to training at Carrot, and then we all got on a plane to catch a team in Denmark, in Aarhus, I think it was. So we got on a flight, So you imagine like David Beckham just finished a World Cup. Yeah, he gets on a plane, like not a private plane like the boys do now. We're on like a normal plane, right, with everybody else. So we're sitting there.
Well, it's like we're now seating rows 15 to 30.
Yeah, exactly. So we all get on. Yeah, is your name? Yep. So I was like, oh, Beckham. Oh, right, yeah, you're there. Next minute, we're sitting down and we're in a row like that. When Beck's just put his hat on his face like that, covering his face. As soon as we sat down, because he knew the drill.
Yeah.
Like he's pretending he's asleep. The whole flight, no respect for the man's sleep. Excuse me, can I get a picture, please? Excuse me, can I get an autograph, please?
Wow.
Excuse me, so-and-so wants a picture. Can he have one as well? Like just the whole, and he's sitting there trying to put his hand. Every time someone goes away, straight down. No respect for the hat over his face. We were cracking up laughing in the end.
Oh,
what was the score? If it was 100 photos and autographs for Beckham, what was the score for you, Nicky Butts, Colsey?
Yeah, it'd have probably been 100 to probably 25 between us. Like, it was a joke, but it was. Listen, it was what it was, man. And listen, the thing is that what was amazing about Bex as well, he actually loved it. He embraced it, and he could still maintain top form.
Yeah.
Under that pressure.
Yeah. Moving on, but still focusing on that. Did you see Neymar get tackled by the fan?
Yeah.
Oh, mad,
Is he
innit?
injured from it?
Nah,
I don't think so. No.
I read something about him being injured.
No.
That's
But
mad.
it is mad. Security needs to get lively.
Yeah, but those players are big in their hometowns. Do you know what I mean? I know we're going off a bit and we've started doing international players, but I look at, for example, as big of a legend as Frank Lampard is, John Terry is to Chelsea, Drogba is the king. When he goes back to Ivory Coast, bruv, it's a madness. That's why he's able to stop wars.
Yeah, George Weah the same. All them players, but it's funny. In England, we love football and we get it in people, but people just are a bit more because they see. I don't know if it's the respect is the right word, but they're just a little bit more to let you breathe a little bit. But you go abroad, man. Like I still get it now, and I'm retired, man. But imagine what these boys are like now.
Where have you been mobbed the most? Where was the just
Africa? Anywhere in Africa or Asia?
Wow.
China, South Korea because of Jisung Park, Japan, Malaysia, Southern Asia, Malaysia, Thailand, all them type of countries there. Indonesia, mental. If I go them countries now, I guarantee you that there'll be someone at least at the airport with a shirt or a bit of memorabilia or one of these little dolls like this for me to sign or something, or as a present. One of these. I've got loads of these because when I go to Asia, they've all got them, and I think, listen, give me one. Let me have one of them, please.
Yeah.
But and in Africa, I think Africa's the maddest. I've got to be honest, because I do a few things in Africa, and I go to Nigeria, Cameroon, Kenya, etc. Jesus, man, the love of football out there and the way these people greet you, there's nothing like it. And the culture, the faces out there, the big smiles, and the love of the game. And you know what? It don't matter if they support Chelsea, which a lot of African players played for Chelsea, a lot of African players played for Arsenal, and now Liverpool. They've got a big following over there, but they just love you, man.
Have you ever caught a local match when you've gone over?
Yeah, I've been to a couple of local matches. Yeah, crazy, mad.
Floyd was doing a mad thing. I don't know if you saw it.
I see it in Ghana. He's in Ghana. Yeah. We were doing that 10 years ago, bruv.
Is it? I see Aubameyang's playing with his boys in France as well.
Oh, did you see that goal he scored? Like Thierry Henry. We need to see that in the Premier League next year.
Yeah, I know. People in the comments are like, SC Dons, mate. Don't count.
How often do you go do that sort of stuff? Because I know
every year.
Trafford, Rooney, Welbeck used to have their own pitch in the corner up there. How often did you do that much when you were still playing?
What? Do what?
Nipped out of fives or Trafford Centre for a 7-a-side?
No, never done that. Because I only got like 2.5, 3 weeks off. So I was on holiday, mate. I went straight on holiday, or I do maybe like 4 or 5 days in Asia or Africa to go and do some charity commercial work.
Rooney and that used to do it like on just a Tuesday night if we didn't have a game.
No, that weren't me, bro. I weren't about getting injured in them type of games. Not at all. No chance. I weren't risking it.
Oh, man. Okay, cool. Moving on. You guys might have seen KDB, PFA Player of the Season. Does he deserve it ahead of Diaz and Harry Kane?
or Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, come on, man. Don't
Look at his numbers. You
Nah,
can't
don't do
talk
that.
about all the
Nah,
other guys and then not mention Bruno.
He's spoiling the show. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey, you can't mention all them names, yeah, and don't mention Bruno.
How do you put Harry Kane in there, but not
United and you
Bruno?
support United. Stop it. Come on, guys.
There's nothing about that. Look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie.
These
Listen,
numbers are similar to Kane.
Bruno Fernandes has not been better than KDB this season. He hasn't.
Right?
Overall.
But he's been about the same as Kane. You had no problem with Kane.
No. Bruno, no. Let's go back to the first bit first. And I'm not.
Bruno hasn't been as good as Kevin De Bruyne this season.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't.
I beg to differ.
Stop it, man. Why'd you guys do this?
I don't think it's as clear cut as you're saying. I think it's a conversation.
Whether it's clean cut or not, I'm telling you right now, he hasn't been. You know what I mean? You can look at the numbers, and yes, he's done very well with the penalties. And I'm not saying Bruno Fernandes is Man United's most important player. Let's get this right. I'm not belittling him. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He's a top quality player. However, KDB in the last few years has been head and shoulders above a lot of players in the Premier League. That's why he won it last year. This year, I think it's a little bit questionable, but I still feel like he's done more than Bruno Fernandes.
Hold on, can I just say something? Also, is it probably because he won something as well?
I think that definitely sways the thing as well, because.
So how did Scott Parker win it when West Ham got relegated?
How did Ginola win it when United won a treble?
United won the treble and Ginola won it.
To be honest with you, that's nothing to do. I don't know. Maybe because you won the Worthington Cup. Yeah, maybe because Spurs. Then come on,
I'm going to throw something at you, right? Woo. Kevin De Bruyne played 23 games. How are you playing Premier League?
You're picking outliers, because if you look at Robert Perez, he won it when we had won the league and he played well. Besides that year where somehow Giggs won it, when Gareth Bale was doing a mad thing and somehow Ryan Giggs won it, yeah? Besides that, it's normally correct. And I think a lot of it is usually to do with when you win the league and it's deserved. So I'm sorry. I think Diaz probably should have won it this year, to be honest with you.
I think Diaz was City's most important player this year.
Yeah.
But listen, Kevin De Bruyne, I love him. He's one of my favourite players to watch in the league when he's in full flow. But I just think this season, I wouldn't put him down as the most valuable player at Man City, let alone in the league. I don't think he's the most valuable. I think he's one of their most valuable players, but the most valuable player at City this year. I think
3 league games.
Gundogan arguably even has been more important.
Should have been, well, I don't know about more important. He had a good spell. I think people are confusing the spell with the whole season. And again, I know Kevin didn't play, but Gundogan had a spell between December and maybe March, April.
Yeah, when Kevin De Bruyne wasn't playing all them games, he was the one who
he wasn't injured
about 11 or 12 goals.
He wasn't injured for 5 months.
He was injured for the time that Gundogan smashed it. Most of that time, Gundogan was playing, holding that team up.
So are we agreeing that it's Diaz then, yeah?
Diaz.
I'd say the most important player, Diaz at City.
And do we also agree that KDB has had a better season than Bruno?
No,
I think it's a conversation. I don't think it's as straightforward as you're making out.
All right, cool.
I do. I think it's a straight
okay. Who's been more important for their respective teams?
No, that's no question. Like Bruno's back's hurting, bruv. You know what I mean?
Got a question for you then. Who had a bigger impact, Cavani in 13 starts or Kevin De Bruyne in 23?
I think you lot are limping though, man. The array of quality players that Man City have versus you guys is different. It's like the Steven Gerrard argument. It's like, why is Steven Gerrard so important? Because, you know, I mean, when you spread it out, he's the main man. Isn't
I agree with that. Was Mason Mount up for Young Player of the Year this year?
Should have been, because he's at the right age.
Do you reckon Foden was the right choice?
I think Rashford's still eligible for it.
No, he's 22 in it. I think Mount.
I think Foden's the right choice because Foden has been doing it consistently this season. He didn't only just win the league and be heavily involved. Don't forget, Mason Mount didn't start that great. You know, he had personal things going on. You know, it was a bit tough for him. But I think if you're looking at it from start to finish, that's what it is. Right now, the streets.
Hey, Mason Mount was the best player under Frank.
Oh, you talk about? Sorry, I thought you were talking about Greenwood.
No, Mason Mount.
No, Mason Mount had a hell of a season. He also played 36 games, and I think Foden only played half the games.
I think Mount should have won it then. If you're looking at Foden and Mount, I'll probably give it to Mount still, to be honest. Yeah, but you know what? The streets are saying that Kante should be getting the Ballon d'Or. But I'm arguing. First of all, I want to hear what you lot are saying in regards to that.
He's only really woke up really like the back end of the season. Like he had injuries before that. Under Frankie, he didn't really play so much, and when he did, he weren't influential. The new manager come in, and like Rudiger, became an absolute rock in that team. Listen, if he was the man of the match in I think 4 out of the last 5 games of that Champions League run, including the final and both semi-final games.
He gets weighed heavy to that.
If they go and he's one of the main players, if not the main player for France, and they win it, the Euros, then I don't think you can look past him. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. I think if he has a big hand in France being successful, then he's in the mixer for it. But conversely, I think Diaz and Bruno could also. I don't think Bruno's Ballon d'Or worthy, but I think if he's as instrumental for Portugal as he has been for United, he'll be in the top 10.
Maybe, but I'm not talking top 10 here. I'm talking like I'm saying like the winner, and I reckon there's one guy that you are both forgetting, right? The disrespect to that guy's name last year. They cancelled the Ballon d'Or.
He should get it because of last year. Because what he's backed up with again this year, 41 goals I think he got in the
record
for Bayern, the record ever. He should get it this year. He's got to get the Ballon d'Or. Lewandowski, I think. I agree.
Yeah. So well, that's what I reckon anyway. But let us know what you think in the comments. Really interested to hear what you have to say. Well, we're practically done. But did anyone watch the Logan Paul Floyd Mayweather fight yesterday?
Are we really chatting that? Are we really chatting about that?
Like,
I'm actually disappointed that Mayweather even took that fight.
Yeah, 100 million.
No, man. I get that part of it. Don't get me wrong, but for he's that I just don't know, man. I understand other fighters fighting him.
Out of you for a 100th of what he just got paid.
But I mean, it's just like I don't know. I understand Tommy Fury wanting to fight one of them, not Mayweather, man.
Do you reckon it ruins his legacy?
No, it don't ruin it, but it gives it a little bit of a tint of like raw. He's the elite, one of the best, if not the best boxers of all time.
Yeah.
Fighting a YouTuber. No disrespect to YouTubers, but I just don't think it makes sense.
Did you see when in that round? I think it was like one of the rounds where it looked like Logan was like he was knocked out and Floyd like kind of carried him and kept it going and stuff like that. Did you see
I reckon it's staged.
Of course it is.
I reckon it's staged. I don't even think it's real. Like I don't even think it's. I think it's definitely staged.
Do you think there'd be? Obviously, you've got hashtag have managed to compete into the FA Cup as a YouTube team, but obviously it's entirely an organic football team. You know, they're competing and stuff like that. But do you think there's ever someone who's just like a massive YouTuber could end up at a club?
Yeah, I think that's
in the Pro League.
I think that's doable. I think it's definitely doable. I think you're seeing
thinking of doing
the
that?
young kids at Rising Ballers. Like there's kids like Rocco Sports, like there's
SC Dons as well. SC Dons got big players.
Rising Ballers and even Dons, they're still they're people that are getting a reputation off the back of being good footballers. I'm just talking about someone who's like a Logan Paul just rocking up and playing for.
No, that ain't happening. Football's different like that. I don't know, man. I don't know why, but football, you ain't being a guy who was a nerd.
Hold on. Let's stop there. So then, why did you think you could do it then?
No. I'm saying that football. I'm saying with football specifically, there's no one who's going to be just a man who's never kicked a ball in his life, never touched a ball in his life, to expect to come into a team environment and be part of a well-oiled unit.
Okay, I got you.
Every time the ball goes to him, it's going to break down. It don't work.
No, I hear you.
I think it'll happen.
No, but I understand what Rio's saying. He's saying basically that like Logan Paul, he's never fought before in his life. Like
he hasn't random shit at school. Like look at Central Coast Mariners tried to sign Usain Bolt. I think it's coming. Someone's going to try and a smaller level.
But he's an athlete. We're talking like a YouTuber who's never been.
We're talking about someone who I get what he's saying. Someone who
like Logan Paul. He is an athlete.
No, man, he can't.
Boxer, but he's an athlete.
Listen, I guarantee you one thing: Logan Paul and his brother are not becoming footballers. No YouTuber.
They are.
No YouTuber who's never played football. I understand a YouTuber that's played Sunday League or whatever. They could do it maybe. But a YouTuber from a standing start at 21 years old, 23 years old, never played football, ain't making it as a footballer, getting into an elite club. No. Not happening.
No, but I'm not talking about elite clubs, and I'm also not talking about someone who's never played. Everyone's played Saturday and Sunday League.
But that's what Logan Paul's done. He's gone and fought Mayweather, the best at it.
Yeah, that was just silly though. That's just, you can't go there and it's like someone saying, "Yeah, I'm just going to play against Messi today." Do you know what I mean? Like you can't do that.
Yeah, I don't see anyone signing for Barcelona or anyone.
And as well, there's so many factors with football that means that someone like that won't be able to do it because, like with boxing, does it make sense financially? Yeah, we're on. With football, it ain't like that. Does it make sense financially? It might do. It probably does. But are the team going to keep winning?
Yeah.
No, they're not. Yeah. So actually, we're not going to do it. There's a lot of factors that will mean it won't happen.
You need to get Eddie Hearn on here, man.
Yeah, we'll get him, man. We'll get him. He's on one of the. He's on the list. We got a list with us being thrown about the WhatsApp group, so he's one to add to that group. I went on his podcast the other day, so he owes us a favour.
You hear that, Eddie? Brilliant stuff. All right, I guess we're done today. You know, don't forget little action points. We've got videos coming out.
More videos.
What about you've been getting at me in the group, the WhatsApp group about Liverpool being behind Man United?
That's it. Rio, can we put it on the screen now? Or you guys can probably see it now. Rio was quoted on BBC Sport saying that wherever he said it, I got wind of it. Someone sent it to me, innit? They just put the crazy emoji, like blow up. Rio saying that Man United are now ahead of Liverpool. Liverpool are now behind Man United. I just thought, what? What are you talking about? In what planet?
When you look at the league table at the end of last season, it said to you that Man United were second, Liverpool were third. So that tells me one thing. Man United are above Liverpool. That's it. It's been a 30-odd point swing.
Come on, man.
33 points behind last season. This season finished ahead of them by 5 points.
Do you remember that season where Liverpool finished ahead of Man United in like 2002? Something like, it was one of the years. I don't know if it was before you came or after, whatever. Do you remember, Steve?
It's only really happened 13,
it was like Owen's last season or something like that. Do you remember?
Oh, there was one we came third in the.
You came third.
04, maybe 05.
Yeah. Do you then reckon those other teams, despite you coming third, do you reckon they were ahead of you at that time?
They were a better team. Obviously, the league don't lie. The league table don't lie. You finish where you're meant to finish.
I hear you, better team, but they, as a club, and where you were, when you look at what United have done in the recent 5 years.
No. So obviously you're misconstruing what I said. Then I said Man United are now ahead of Liverpool because we were above them in the league. We were second. That's what I was saying.
The
season what's gone on before that means nothing. You finish where you're finished.
League.
Also, Joel, on your point of when Liverpool had one fluke season to finish above us, United had gone on and won 3 in a row at times.
Why is this not a fluke season then? They won the Champions League the season before. They lost the team by 1 point. They won the league the following season, and you're going to tell me this ain't a fluke season? Come on, guys, man.
What have they retained in this amazing run they've had in the last couple of years? What have they retained?
They won the Champions League 1 year, and they lost out by a point.
Jack shit the year after.
The key word is retained.
Right, and then the following season they went.
What have they retained, Joel?
The answer is before coming in. You lot, man.
You need to understand that the question was, the word is retained. That's the key word there, retained.
Yeah. They've won some trophies, but what have they retained?
Guys, you can pull the wool over.
How easy is winning a league?
Other people's eyes in that. Like, you will never be able to pull the wool over.
You know what it is, yeah? When you win the league, yeah? The first one, yeah? It's not the easiest, but it happens, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
The second one, man. You got a target on your back straight away. That's the one. It's difficult. And then to do it a third time, not many teams do that, man, because it's even harder then. You know what I mean?
So let's just end it there because I want to start talking about Leicester and all that.
Listen, man. Listen. Just get my point right though. I didn't say as a club, Man United are above Liverpool because as a club, the way that they've been run the last few years has been fantastic at Liverpool. But the league table tells me right now, as a team, Man United are 5 points better off than Liverpool and are ahead. And Liverpool have to do a bit this summer.
And that's not news then. That's not news then because that's you reading out the league table.
Yeah, so but it obviously was news because it was headlines everywhere, brother.
Also, John, you got to remember, Liverpool lost 9 games. United only lost 6. United had 11 draws. That means we was 11 times. We was one goal away from picking up a win.
Save it for someone who's going to fall for it, mate. Not me.
Listen, Liverpool need to do some recruiting this summer, and Man United need to do some recruiting this summer.
I think they're going to miss Wijnaldum. You know, I think that's a
big miss. He's the only one that's ever present in that midfield all the time, always there.
He's a miss. And if you think that having Thiago instead of him, that's going to change up the way that whole shit works in that midfield. And I think they are not the same. Unless Klopp's going to evolve them to play in a different style, which he's definitely capable of doing. And Thiago is certainly capable of being the centre linchpin of that. Unless if he's going to try and make them play how they played with Wijnaldum, with Thiago,
can't.
You've won one league and you're not doing it again.
They can't play the same. Thiago's got different attributes, man. But more importantly, they need Van Dijk and Gomez to come back fit. If them two come back and play anywhere like the levels they were playing before, Liverpool are back in the mix without a shadow of a doubt. But I still think recruitment in the top end of the pitch as well needs to be done. But also another midfielder probably going to need to be added to that squad, man. But listen, everyone's got to recruit. Man United have got a lot of work to do. They've got to get a centre back. If Man United can do all the recruiting they want to do, if they don't buy a centre back, it's going to be the same story next season.
Mm-hmm. Listen, we have to end it there. It's been a good one this week, man. Really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the Euros. And just to say as well, you guys have been good since we started doing this for the start of the season. And the audience, you guys watching, you know what I mean? We proper love you, man. Thank you very much for making this a big thing. And because of you guys, we're able to now have a proper Euros. You know, we got on time with people like Shearer, Henry, you know, Ashley Williams. So please make sure you're watching this week. And Late Night Vibe is on Friday around 11:30 p.m. It's a live show. So please stay tuned. Late.
You know what as well? All the guys that are around the Euros at the stadiums or in the studios when we're shooting, man, we are going to be on you to come on here. I'm going to be at you all the time. I'm atting you in your DMs, etc. Do not try and blank me because I'm bringing the camera under your nose and you're going to see what it's like to be under the spotlight for real. All right. So please, when I ask you, just come on, man. 10 minutes of your time, we're in.
All right, guys. Joe Bayer, Rio Ferdinand, Stephen Howson, Vibe with 5. We're out and we'll be back soon. Peace.